Well, hello. Welcome to the Sleuth Intuition channel. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back, Sleuth Crew. Big up, big up. Lots to go over today, guys. Hey, BN Mama and Olivia too. Hello. GTM. Copycat, first time in my opinion. He's pretty young. Yeah, I'm wondering. And the only reason I'm starting to think that is after speaking with Dennis Rader's daughter, or watching an interview with her. His first murder, he killed a family of 4. So I wonder if he was trying to copycat. And we'll get started here in just a minute. Hey, Nadia. Sweet, what's up? But no effects. Hello. Shout out to Nova Scotia. What's up, Lisa? Thanks for hanging out. Hey, Wanda. Yep, I agree with that. Wanda says, I think had they not caught him, I think he would have just been getting started. Hey, Richard. Good to see you. You like those drums? Audio Binger. That's who this instrumental's by. It's called New Hope. Hey, what's up, Derek? What's going on, man? Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I hope you're doing well also. Hey, D. Hey, Tattoo, good to see you. Yeah, Lisa, he could. I mean, there's some very strange crimes. We're going to talk about it. Lad in the Juetten case. I mean, it's definitely up for debate until we know more. I've only read about 5 pages of the PCA so far. So we're going to discover all this information again. Nadia, Mandy. What is good? All right, without further ado, let's get going. Now, there's 19 pages we got to go through. So we will stop and go just to kind of discuss some of the interesting details that we come across. But I will do a follow-up deep dive on this, put a video together or another live stream after we have a chance to digest all the information. So I'll probably give it another minute or two, let the room fill up, and then we're just going to dive right into this probable cause. Got a lot to go over. Thank you, BM. Yeah, if you guys could hit the thumbs up. That's a really good way to support channels here on YouTube, just simply clicking that button. Sensei says, I don't think he's competent to have committed other crimes and got away with it. He's not as clever as he thought he was. Yeah, I don't think he was as clever as he thought he was at all. Either that or he wasn't prepared. It's one thing to read about it and then another to do it, I'm sure. Yeah, from the few pages I read, he was pretty sloppy. But there's some interesting things here. All right, let's just dive right in. Okay, so Exhibit A, statement of Brett Payne. And it looks like this was released December, what was that? December 29th? Yeah, he should plead guilty if he cares about his own life, right? Copycat. I'm wondering if that's why he needed 4 victims. Could have been obsessed with the BTK. Um, his first time, he killed a family of 4, mother, father, and 2 children. Lisa says possibly not anticipating the huge amount of media. If he had killed before, he got away with it. Maybe he just didn't think there would be so much attention, or he hasn't done it before and it was sloppy. Yeah, it could be a combination, huh? Okay, so I'm going to read a couple pages. We'll stop and go. I don't want to lose my voice like I did with the Richard Allen probable cause, and that was only, I think, what, like 9 pages. Okay. So in the chat, don't jump ahead. If we can just kind of talk about what we're reading at that point in time, so we can kind of keep the discussion on track here, and then we'll just go into a discussion of, we'll let it go. We'll do freestyle. Exhibit A, statement of Brett Payne. The below information is provided by Brett Payne, who is duly appointed, qualified, and acting peace officer within the county of Lake Tahoe, state of Idaho. Brett Payne is employed by Moscow Police Department in official capacity of position of corporal and has been a trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. CPL Payne is being assisted by members of the Idaho State Police and agents of the FBI. On November 13th, 2022, at approximately 4 p.m. So, let's see. Approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department, Sergeant Blaker and I responded to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho. Hereafter, the King Road residents to assist with scene security and processing of crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police forensic team was on scene and was preparing to begin processing the scene. MPD officer OFC Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. OFC Smith and I entered King Road residence through the bottom floor, door on the north side of the building. OFC Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. OFC Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings in the room was Xana Kernodle's, hereafter known as the Kernodle room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. So there's that word edged. And we wonder why they would redact that from other PCAs. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chafin. Hereafter, Chafin was also deceased with wounds later determined. Autopsy report provided by Spokane, and it looks like it's all redacted there in that page. Yep, redacted. County Medical Examiner, dated December 15th, 2022, to be caused by sharp force injuries. Excuse me. I then followed OFC Smith upstairs to the 3rd floor of the residence. The 3rd floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Goncalves, hereafter Goncalves' room. I later learned from a review of Officer Nunez's body camera there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. The dog belonged to Goncalves and her ex-boyfriend Jack Decour. I found out from my interview with Jack on November 13th, 2022, that he and Goncalves shared the dog. OFC Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogen, hereafter Mogen's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. Yeah, we'll do a deep dive on all this information, and we'll pull up the images of the home. That way we have more reference. As I entered this bedroom, I could see two females in a single bed in the room. Both Goncalves and Mogen were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogen's right side. When viewed from the door, the sheath was later processed and had K-bar, U.S. Marine Corps, and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on the side of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath. Hey, True Crime Housewife. Good to see you guys. Hey, Vanessa. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. Two of the interviews included BF and DM. Both BF and DM were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates to the victims. BF's bedroom was located on the east side of the first floor of the King Road residence. So I'm wondering here if those investigators that showed up a few days after the fact were military. Maybe they were from the Marines, sent to investigate. So I'm wondering if Bryan was, what do you call that? Stolen valor, that kind of stuff. Hey, what's up, Glenn? Good to see you. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll get into that here in just a moment. On the evening of November 12th, 2022, Chafin and Kernodle are seen by BF at the Sigma Chi house on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive from approximately 9 p.m. to November 12th to 1:45 a.m. on November 13th. BF also estimated that at approximately 1:45 a.m., Chafin and Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. BF also stated that Chafin did not live in the King Road residence, but was a guest of Kernodle. Goncalves and Mogen were at a local bar, the Corner Club, at 202 North Main Street in Moscow. Goncalves and Mogen can be seen on video footage provided by the Corner Club between 10 p.m. and November 12th to 1:30 a.m. on November 13th, approximately 1:30 a.m. Goncalves and Mogen can be seen on video at a local food vendor called the Grub Truck at 318 South Main Street in downtown Moscow. The Grub Truck live streams video from their food truck on the streaming platform Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. This video was captured by law enforcement. A private party, Redacted, reported that he provided a ride to Goncalves and Mogen at approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow in front of the Grub Truck to the King Road residence. So we were all pretty clear on that part of the timeline. Hey, what's up, Francis? Yeah, extremely sad. Law enforcement identified. Oh, excuse me. What am I skipping here? Okay, here we go. DM and BF both made statements during the interviews that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were at home by 2 a.m. and asleep or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Kernodle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 a.m. So that kind of changed the timeline right there. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Goncalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, DM said she heard who she thought was Goncalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed this could also have been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app approximately 4:12 a.m. Yeah, so the timeline is very different. DM stated she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying from Kernodle's room. DM then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of the Kernodle's bedroom. DM stated she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. Yeah, Bryan has very bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. DM did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. Yeah, that's scary. I'm going to help you. Yeah, after I just killed you, I'm going to help you. Unless he thought he was helping by killing. Some killers are that warped. The combination of DM's statement to law enforcement reviews of forensic downloads of records from BF and DM's phone and video of a suspect's video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicide occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 p.m. or excuse me, 4:25 a.m. I'm sorry. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by the ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans-type shoe sole. Just outside of the door of DM's bedroom, located on the second floor, this is consistent with DM's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. As part of the investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law enforcement as a video canvass, was conducted in the area of King Road residence. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, in the area of King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspect or suspect's vehicle traveling to or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvasses resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from residential and business addresses. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversations with the other MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents that are similarly reviewing footage that was obtained. A review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow. I wonder if that's the gas station footage. At approximately 3:28 on this video, it appeared suspect vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. A review of the footage from multiple videos obtained from King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show suspect vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leave via Walenta Drive. Based off of my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood, which is a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during this time frame. All right, let me catch up on the chat real quick. If you're just joining, welcome. Hey, Vanessa. Hey, Seahorse. I am having a wonderful day. Yeah, he's sunk. His ship is sunk. I mean, it sounds like they got a whole list of evidence against this guy. Let's see. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a fourth time at approximately 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, appear to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road. Suspect vehicle 1 is next seen departing the area of the King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. Suspect vehicle 1 is next observed traveling southbound on Walenta Drive. Based on my knowledge of the area and review of camera footage in the neighborhood that does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that time frame, I believe that suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Palouse River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Yep, he's cooked. Yeah, it's unbelievable. One of the victims was on TikTok, so I wonder if somehow they got into some type of communication. Still trying to figure out why they called it targeted. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle 1 to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation that regularly utilizes surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a criminal offense. Yeah, they actually do what we tried to do with the bridge guy image and try to figure out what's being captured there within those pixels. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years of law enforcement experience with 12 years at the FBI. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses a database that gives visual clues of the vehicles across states to identify differences between vehicles. After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed that suspect vehicle 1 was a 2011 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011 to a 2016 Hyundai Elantra. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons and possessions of a vehicle is a 2011 to 2016 white Hyundai Elantra. Hey, Lorraine. Indy Pam, good to see you. Hi, Jessica. Yeah, Shout out to all the law enforcement that was involved in this. They didn't leave much to critique. You know, they did. It seems like they did everything that they should have done. Yeah, why wasn't the sheath like attached to his belt or something? I mean, did he even plan this? Or did he get all pissed off and drive over there? Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as a suspect vehicle 1, was observed on the WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way at approximately 2:53 a.m. A white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra, known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington, towards SR 270. And like I said, I'm going to do a follow-up video. We'll pull this all up on maps. We'll identify exactly these locations. That way we can have reference, and then we'll do a deep dive into all this information. Pullman, Washington was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington as being a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of suspect vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and on the WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on SR 270 at approximately 5:27 a.m. The white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar Way. Depiction showing Moscow Pullman. So they have these maps here, but they're awful. But you can kind of get an idea. Yeah, we'll have something better here in the near future. On November 25th, 2022, MPD asked area law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for white Hyundai Elantras in the area. On November 29th, 2022, at approximately 12:28 a.m., Washington State University police officer Daniel Tiango quarried white Elantras registered at WSU. As a result of that query, he located 2015 white Elantra with a Pennsylvania license plate LFZ 8649. This vehicle was registered to a Bryan Kohberger, hereafter Kohberger, residing at 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment 201, Pullman, Washington. 1630 Northeast Valley Road is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of Stadium Way and Cougar Way, last camera locations that picked up the white Elantra. Hi, Melissa. Welcome. Yeah, Elle, we're going to try to do our best to create an act, go over the right timeline, the correct timeline with this new information. And we'll follow up on all this. It's a lot to process. That same day at approximately 12:58, WSU officer Curtis Whitman was looking for white Hyundai Elantras and located the 2015 Elantra at 1630 Northeast Valley Road in Pullman in the parking lot. Man, they had it. They found it. Officer Whitman also ran the car and it returned to Kohberger with a Washington tag. I reviewed Kohberger's Washington state driver's license information and photograph. The license indicates that Kohberger is a white male with the height of 6 feet and weighs about 185 pounds. Additionally, the photograph of Kohberger shows that he has bushy eyebrows, and he does. Kohberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male DM saw inside the King Road residence on November 13th. Further investigation, including a review of Lake Talk County Sheriff's Deputy CPL Duke's body cam, a report showed that August 21st, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho by CPL Duke. At the time, Kohberger, who was the sole occupant, was driving a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plates, which was set to expire on November 30th, 2022. During the stop, which was recorded via law enforcement body camera, Kohberger provided his phone number. Hereafter, the 8458 phone as his cellular telephone number. Investigators conducted electronic database queries and learned that the 8458 phone is a number issued by AT&T. On October 14th, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop by WSU police officer. Upon review of that body cam and report of the stop, Kohberger was the sole occupant and was driving a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plates. So they've been pulling him over since he's been in Washington. So they're trying to pull him over as much as they can because every time, they get to videotape him up close. On November 18th, 2022, according to Washington State Licensing, Kohberger registered the 2015 white Elantra with Washington and later received Washington plate CFB 8708. Prior to this time, the 2015 white Elantra was registered in Pennsylvania. Yeah, so he's starting to learn about all his mistakes at this point, which does not require a front license plate to be displayed. This was learned through communications with a Pennsylvania officer who's currently certified in the state of Pennsylvania. Based on my own experience and communication with Washington law enforcement, I know that Idaho and Washington require front and back license plates to be displayed. Investigators believe that Kohberger is still driving the 2015 white Elantra because his vehicle is captured in December 13th, 2022 by a license plate reader in Loma, Colorado. What the hell is he doing in Loma, Colorado? Kohberger's Elantra was then queried on December 15th of 2022 by law enforcement in Hancock County, Indiana on December 16th, 2022 at approximately 2:26 p.m. Surveillance video showed Kohberger's Elantra in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. The sole occupant of the vehicle was a white male whose description was consistent with Kohberger. Kohberger has family in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, learned through a TLO search and a locate tool database query. Based on information provided on the WSU website, Kohberger is currently a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University. Pursuant to the records provided by a member of the interview panel for Pullman Police Department, we learned that Kohberger's past education included undergraduate degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. These records also showed Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for the internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. Kohberger wrote in his essay, he had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Kohberger also posted a Reddit survey, which can be found by an open source internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision making when committing a crime. So he seems like he's trying to be like the BTK killer, a student to better um, his crimes. Yeah, I don't understand. Maybe they don't have a good relationship with law enforcement there. Young kids partying a lot, maybe they just live their life not doing their best to avoid law enforcement. As part of this investigation, law enforcement obtained search warrants to determine cellular devices that utilize cellular towers in close proximity to the King Road residence on November 13th, 2022, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So that's the new timeline. After determining that Kohberger was associated to both the 2015 white Elantra and the 8458 phone, investigators reviewed these search warrant returns. A query of the 8458 phone and these returns did not show the 8458 phone utilizing cellular tower resources in close proximity to the King Road residence between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So maybe he was at least smart enough to leave his phone at home. I wonder if they have family in Colorado. Because if you went into Colorado and then back up to Albrightsville, PA, you would go through Indianapolis. Based on my training and experience in conversations with law enforcement officers that specialize in the utilization of cellular telephone records, as part of investigations, individuals can either leave their cellular telephone at a different location before committing a crime or turn their cellular telephone off prior to going to a location to commit a crime. This is done by subjects in an effort to avoid alerting law enforcement that a cellular device associated with them was in a particular area where a crime is committed. I also know that on numerous occasions, subjects will surveil an area where they intend to commit a crime prior to the data of the crime, depending on the circumstances. This could be done a few days before or several months prior to the commission of a crime. During these types of surveillance, it is possible that an individual would not leave their cellular telephone at a separate location or turn it off since they do not plan to commit the offense on that particular day. On December 23rd, 2022, I applied for and was granted a search warrant for historical phone records between November 12th and 2022 at 12 a.m. and November 14th at 12 a.m. for the 8458 phone held by the phone provider AT&T. Approximately 24 hours preceding and following the times of the homicides on December 23rd, 2022, pursuant to the search warrant, I received records for the 8458 phone from AT&T. These records indicated that the 8458 phone is subscribed to Bryan Kohberger at an address in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, and the account has been open since. Yeah, that's right, Lorraine. I think he would have used a different phone. June 23rd, 2022, these records also included historical cell site location information for the 8458 phone. After receiving this information, I consulted with the FBI Special Agent SA that is certified as a member of the Cellular Analysis Survey Team, CAST. Members of CAST are certified with the FBI to provide expert testimony in the field of historical CSLI and are required to pass extensive training that includes both written and practical examinations prior to be certified with CAST, as well as the completion of yearly certification requirements. Additionally, the FBI CAST SA that I consulted with has over 15 years of federal law enforcement experience, which includes 6 years with the FBI from information provided by CAST. I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8458 phone from November 12th, 2022 to November 13th, 2022, the time period authorized by the court. Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate all your support, man. And we missed you in the Discord. Yeah, I mean, he's made so many mistakes, but it's seeming more and more like this was his first time. I just don't know how you can make that many mistakes unless he wanted to be caught. Some people just feel so insignificant. They just want to, they'll do anything. On November 13th, 2022, at approximately 2:42, the 8458 phone was utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage to 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment G201, Pullman, Washington, hereafter the Kohberger residence. At approximately 2:47 a.m., the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that provided coverage southeast of the Kohberger residence, consisted with the 8458 phone leaving the Kohberger residence and traveling south through Pullman, Washington. This is consistent with the movement of the White Elantra. At approximately 2:47 a.m., 8458 phone stops reporting to the network, which is consistent with either the phone being in an area without cellular coverage, the connection to the network is disabled, such as putting the phone in airplane mode, or the phone is turned off. The 8458 phone does not report to the network again until approximately 4:48 a.m., at which time it utilized cellular resources that provided coverage to ID State Highway 95 south of Moscow ID. So he must have turned it on as he was leaving. Between 4:50 a.m. and 5:26 a.m., the phone utilizes cellular service resources that are consistent with the 8458 phone traveling south on ID State Highway 95 to Genesee, Idaho, then traveling west towards Uniontown, Idaho, and then north back to Pullman. So he must have tried to throw him off track. Can't forget the Discord, Glenn. You and Derek are the only one that comment on my the UFO channel. Hey, Tommy, good to see you. Yeah, Glenn, you just forget about us, man. I see how it is. Further review indicated that the 8458 phone utilized cellular services on November 13th, 2022 that are consistent with the 8458 phone leaving the area of Kohberger residence approximately at 9 a.m. and traveling to Moscow, Idaho. Specifically, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. The 8458 phone next utilized cellular services that are consistent with 8458 phone traveling back to the area of the Kohberger residence and arriving to the area at approximately 9:32 a.m. Below is a depiction of the possible route taken based off the cellular site locations. So when we break down all this information in another video, we're going to try to locate some better maps for all this information. Yeah. See, he went way out of the way. I wonder if he panicked. Investigators found that the 8458 phone did connect to a cell phone tower that provides service to Moscow on November 14th. But investigators do not believe that 8458 phone was in Moscow on that date. The 8458 phone has not connected to any towers that provide service to Moscow since that date. Based on my training, experience, and the facts of the investigators thus far, I believe that Kohberger, the user of the 8458 phone, was likely the driver of the white Elantra that is observed departing Pullman, Washington, and that this vehicle is likely suspect vehicle 1. Additionally, the route of travel of the phone, 8458 phone, during the early morning hours of November 13th, and the lack of 8458 phone reporting to AT&T between 2:47 a.m. and 4:48 is consistent with Kohberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide that occurred at the King Road residence. What's up, Chopper? Yeah, you're right. Chopper says he thought he was clever, but the truth is he's just an evil, stupid bastard that should hang. Yeah, and I think they got him. Hey, public art critic. Evening all, another case solved. Well done, law enforcement. They knew everything early on. Yeah, they did really good on this case. Congratulations to them, and I hope they can get a conviction here and some justice for those 4. On December 23rd, 2022, it was granted a search warrant for Kohbergers Historical CSLI from June 23rd, 2022 to current prospective location information and a pen register trap and trace of the 8458 phone to aid in efforts to determine if Kohberger stalked any of the victims in this case prior to the offense, conducted surveillance on the King Road residence, was in contact with any of the victims associated before or after the alleged offense. Any locations that may contain evidence of the murders that occurred on November 13th, the location of the white Elantra registered to Kohberger, as well as the location of Kohberger himself. Good to see you, Lisa. Yep, they got him. On December 23rd, 2022, pursuant to that search warrant, I received historical records for the 8458 phone from AT&T, and from that time, the account was opened in June 2022. After consulting with Cast SA, I was able to determine estimated locations for the 8458 phone from June 2022 to present, the time period authorized by court. The records for the 8458 show that the 8458 phone utilizing cellular services that provide coverage to the area of 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions. Wow. Prior to November 13th. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days. So, yeah, he was planning this. One of these locations on August 21st, the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources provided coverage to the King Road residence from approximately 10:34 p.m. to 11:35 p.m. At approximately 11:37 p.m., Kohberger was stopped by Latah County Sheriff's Deputy CPL Duke. As mentioned above, the 8548 phone was utilizing cellular resources consistent with the location of the traffic stop during this time. So they're basically saying he can't use the defense like, yeah, it's my phone, but I didn't have it. I lost it, or something along those lines. Further analysis of the cellular data provided showed that 8458 phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th, 2022, consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman, Washington to Lewiston, Idaho via US Highway 195. At approximately 12:36 p.m., the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that would provide coverage to Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand located located at 810 Port Drive, Clarkston, Washington. Sorry about the dogs, guys. Probably barking at me. I'll shut this window here in a minute. Yeah, it should be the death penalty. Yeah, I wonder if he's the stalker. Or was he privately stalking? Or did they maybe notice him kind of like following them, showing up to places they were at? Oh, thank you, Mandy. Let me reread that. At approximately 12:46 p.m., the 8458 phone then utilized cellular data in the area of the Albertsons grocery store at 400 Bridge Street in Clarkston, Washington. Surveillance footage obtained from the Albertsons showed Kohberger exit the white Elantra, consistent with suspect vehicle 1 at approximately 12:49 p.m. Interior surveillance cameras showed Kohberger walk through the store, purchase unknown items at the checkout, and leave at approximately 1:04 p.m. Kohberger's possible path to travel is depicted below. Additional analysis of records for the 8458 phone indicated that between approximately 5:32 p.m. and 5:36 p.m., the 8458 phone utilized cellular resources that provided coverage to Johnson, Idaho. The phone then stops reporting to the network from approximately 5:36 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. That is consistent with the phone being in the area that of being the area that the 8458 phone traveled in. The hours immediately followed the suspect time the homicides occurred. Yeah, I think they got him. On December 27th, 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohberger family residence located in Albrightsville, PA. That evidence was sent to Idaho State Lab for testing. On December 28th, 2022, the Idaho State Lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as a biological father of suspect profile. At least 99.99% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. Interesting. Based on the above information, I am requesting an arrest warrant be issued for Bryan C. Kohberger for burglary at 1122 King Street in Moscow, Idaho, and 4 counts of murder in the first degree for the murders of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Goncalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chafin. Rest in peace. I declare under penalty of perjury pursuant to the law of the state of Idaho. Foregoing is true and correct. All right, guys, there you have it. The full probable cause affidavit. So yeah, at one point he seems like he's a little bit more heavyset. So apparently this was around 2013. It's from his high school yearbook. So yeah, he was much larger. Um, the yearbook reads, and I guess this was a misspelling here. Sophomore Bryan Kohberger performs his daily push-ups as part of his law enforcement class. Kohberger used the skills he learned to help him reach his goal to one day serve in the Army Rangers. It was this statement right here where I thought maybe he was the person responsible for the Moscow Slayer account. You guys remember that? The fake Navy SEAL account? I wonder if that was him. Yeah, he did. Apparently, he returned looking like this. Actually, I think I might have the answer to that, Jessica. Let's watch a quick little clip of the BTK killer real quick. I think that'll answer the question.
Into the deviant mind of Dennis Rader.
If I had never gone into sexual fantasies, really off the deep end, I never became what I was.
He is just the most unique, unprecedented combination of perversion packaged to look like a human being that I've ever seen.
You'll hear his excuses on why he says he had to kill.
Fantasies are what got me in trouble. I just went from one fantasy to bigger and bigger and bigger, and pretty soon I was involved in murder, and then that fueled the next one, and it just went on and on.
There is one Dennis Rader, and that's a murderer, that's a coward.
All told in an appallingly matter-of-fact manner.
And put a garment over his neck and pulled up on it. That's when I guess Factor X, whatever, the monster took over totally then.
There's no monster in him. He is the monster himself.
Tonight, an exclusive...
He is the monster. But did you hear what he said? He said it went from one fantasy to the other, and then before he knew it, he was a killer. We hear the same thing from Ted Bundy with his porn addiction. There was a good video put out by Fox this morning as well. It was pretty good. Let's take a quick look at this one as well.
In Kohberger, including the fact that he studied under famed criminologist Dr. Catherine Ramsland. Ramsland has studied notorious serial killer Dennis Rader, also known as BTK, which stands for Bind, Torture, and Kill. He has been convicted of killing several people between the years of 1974 and 1991. He was arrested more than 15 years ago. He's behind bars. Rader's daughter is Carrie Rawson. She says she's concerned her father may have been in contact with Kohberger. Carrie Rawson is my guest now, and good morning to you. A lot of confusion connections here. Just want to try and take it slow here, Carrie, okay? This teacher had a contact with your father as she was teaching in Lehigh, Pennsylvania, DeSales University. Now, Kohberger was studying for his PhD in the state of Washington. Why do you believe he had a connection to your infamous father, now in jail?
It's really common in general for people in the public or criminology students especially to correspond with my father via letters and sometimes talk to him on the phone. And since Dr. Ramsland had a long-term, several years, academic, intimate relationship with my father and a personal friendship, I wouldn't be surprised if Kohberger at least tried to contact my father or had contact. At this point, we don't have proof of it. We would need to see letters either at Kohberger's home or in my father's jail cell.
I appreciate your guys' support.
That physical evidence may be out there. It has not been confirmed, but maybe it's a possibility as you express here. Your father studied criminal justice at Wichita State. And then you say he went on to continue studying about his own crimes. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, so my father's first murders were the 4 members of the Otero family in jail.
So his first murders were 4 people. So I'm wondering if Kohberger was trying to copy him.
January of '74. Then he quickly entered into the criminal justice undergrad program at Wichita State University in Wichita, Kansas. So he was a student mainly taking night classes at Wichita State for several years while continually committing BTK murders, committing a total of 7 in the 1970s before I was born. And then he was sort of a prolific student of his own after he graduated. As I was growing up, he always had like true crime books in his house. And when I got older, I was at least able to share like fiction with him. Since he's been in prison, he said he's been trying to understand what's wrong with him, and he's been a prolific studier of himself and other serial killers.
Carrie,
and then he went on.
Yeah, can I ask you this then? Why is it that students would reach out to your father? Why would professors reach out to the father, your father in this case?
Well, professors try to reach out to my father from an academic standpoint because it's rare to be able to pick the brain of a true psychopath and have them at least be willing to talk to you. Ramsland had developed a friendship with my father and then ended up publishing a book in 2016, a biography on my father that my father interviewed with intensively and massively had input into. It's basically a first-person account of his crimes. Students in general, sometimes they're even assigned to contact criminals as research projects or to develop their own research. I'm contacted pretty regularly by students asking me, can you get a hold of your father and have him return my letters?
Okay, but you don't have any proof that Kohberger reached out to your father. What you're trying to draw here is a connection to this professor. And has the professor said anything yet about
What's up, James?
Dr. Ramsland?
On Saturday, she made a public statement that she was not making public statements at this time, I believe due to her connection with DeSales University and her possible, legal connection here with Kohberger as being his professor in the master's program.
Is that the only, sorry, Carrie, is that the only connection that you're tying here? Or is there some measure of evidence that you have learned through the media over the past 7-8 weeks after these murders?
My first time I heard of any connection to Dr. Ramsland was after Kohberger's arrest. And then there's speculation about Kohberger's ties to my father, but we're going to have to wait, to see if anything comes out in trial or after the trial.
Okay, one question here. The Kohberger family, the father drove in mid-December all the way across the country from the state of Washington to Pennsylvania. Here's a family statement. We fully cooperated with law enforcement agencies in an attempt to seek the truth and promote his presumption of innocence rather than judge unknown facts and make erroneous assumptions. Can you reflect on what the family's going through after your own experience? And you lived this, and you have not had contact with your dad in about 1.5 years. I
mean, as far as we know, his family is innocent. And so from my perspective of what my own family went through, it's basically utter hell. It's shock. I mean, they had a no-knock warrant come into their house in the middle of the night. They're probably still in shock, confused, grieving. It was reported that the mother and sister were upset at the hearing yesterday. It's a lot to process. You're trying to figure out how to pay for legal defense. You can't afford it. You're trying to answer questions to the FBI. You're trying to manage media, and you're trying to ask yourself what went wrong or what did I miss? And as parents, you're dealing with a massive amount of guilt, probably. It's a lot, and it's going to be a long time for them to find recovery.
Carrie, thank you for sharing your story. Carrie Ralston, it certainly is unique, and I know you have not had contact with your father since March of 2021. You got a court order to make sure that he cannot contact you again. We'll stay in touch and see.
Person living among them, now charged in their murders, had to have been looking over his back constantly. Yet we hear that he worked in a CVS convenience store, and there was a photo of the suspect, the sketch, behind him at one point in a photograph that was taken of him. I don't know how somebody like that lives under the radar. Help explain to me the mindset of a killer living in a community where they have carried out, allegedly, this heinous act.
Well, if it is the person, the suspect that they have under arrest right now, he was married, so he would have had to have secrets, had a secret fantasy life. He kind of looks pretty ordinary. So even if he right now looks, we can look at those drawings and think, oh, he does have some resemblance to them. A lot of people did. I don't think that they're that out of the ordinary. There's nothing that really stands out about them. So I don't see him as being particularly concerned if no one came for him the first few weeks. I think that he would have believed he got away with this. He might be narcissistic. He might have that feeling of immunity that I'm too smart for this. Or he might be just not smart enough to realize that he was at risk. And they did talk about the person probably living in the community as he did. I think until we know more about him, it's hard to say, but clearly he had a secret life. He knew the area. He was comfortable with handling bodies, whether that means he's done this before in some capacity or he fantasized in such detail that he certainly believed no one was going to find him while he was in the act. And that means that he really scoped out the area to find a place that he thought would be protected.
Well, and living right under investigators' noses, you wonder how long those in charge of solving this case knew of him, were watching him, and were very careful about his.
All right, guys, we are completely out of time for today. I apologize. I thought I was going to have at least 2 hours, but I had some things that just came up that I have to take care of. So we will continue this tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the support that you guys provide my channel, and we'll see you again real soon. Take care.